Hey everyone, Sam here from Sugar-Spun-Run, and today I'm showing you how to make my favorite soft dinner rolls. Today I'm sharing a quick and easy dinner roll recipe. This is my personal favorite because it makes such soft, fluffy rolls. I think you're really going to love this one, so let's get started. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is preheat your oven to just 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Now let's head over to our stand mixer where you're going to need 3 cups of all-purpose flour. We're just going to add this into the bowl of our mixer. We're also adding just 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar and 2.5 teaspoons of rapid rise yeast. Now, one ingredient I like to add to my bread recipe that not everybody uses is a tablespoon of cornstarch. I have found this really helps make the rolls extremely soft. I also use this technique, this ingredient, when I'm making my cinnamon rolls for the same reason. Finally, we're just going to add 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt, and then we're just going to stir all of our dry ingredients together until they're nicely combined. With your dry ingredients all nicely combined, we're going to go ahead and prepare our liquid ingredients. So you're going to need a small saucepan, and in this saucepan, we're going to combine a 1/2 cup of water, a 1/2 cup of whole milk, and 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And as you can see, I've gone ahead and cut this into 4 pieces. It's just going to help everything to melt together a little more easily. Now let's head over to the stovetop where we're going to heat together our butter, our milk, and our water until the butter is melted and the mixture is between 110 and 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if this gets too hot, that's fine. Just remove it from the stovetop and let it cool back down to between 110 and 115 degrees. So this got a little bit hotter than that 110 to 115 degree Fahrenheit range we're aiming for. So I've let it cool for a couple minutes. Now we're back in range. So what you're gonna do is you're going to turn your mixer speed to low. And while that's running, you're just gonna gradually pour this liquid mixture into the dry ingredients. Once everything's combined there, we're going to add our eggs. You'll need 1 large egg and 1 large egg yolk for this recipe, and these should both be at room temperature. Before adding them, I'm just gonna use a fork to just lightly scramble the eggs. And we'll just stir these in with the rest of our ingredients. Now, if your ingredients are having a tough time getting nicely incorporated, make sure you pause your mixer and use a spoon or a spatula to scrape the sides and bottom of the bowl. What you want to do is you want to run your mixer on medium speed until everything is nicely combined. So now at this point, we're not finished with our dough yet. Obviously, it's much too wet. But what I like to do is, if you have it, I recommend swapping your paddle attachment on your mixer out for a dough hook. This is not mandatory. You can still get great dinner rolls using a paddle attachment. I just find this works with my dough a little bit better. So what we're going to do is we're going to be adding more flour. You're going to need about a 1/2 cup more flour, but we're going to add this sparingly. You're going to turn your mixer to low speed and gradually add this flour. So at this point, everything is actually looking pretty good. You can see that the dough is pretty smooth and elastic, and it's clinging to itself rather than clinging to the sides of the bowl. Also, if I touch it, my finger comes away clean. There's a little bit of dough on it, but it's mostly clean. I really don't think I'd be adding any more flour at this point. Now, for me, I usually need to add that full 1/2 cup of flour. If you do not need to add that much, it's fine. If you have to add another tablespoon or so, that's also fine. When you're making yeast dough or rolls like today's recipe, it's more about the consistency of the dough than it is about exactly how much flour you add. Now we're going to want to let this dinner roll dough rise. It's only gonna need about 10 minutes to do so. What I like to do is transfer it to a lightly oiled heat-proof bowl. This is a pretty large bowl. Cover your dough tightly with plastic wrap, and you're just going to want to leave it in a warm, draft-free place to rise. Now, since my oven is preheating to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, the top of my oven is actually going to be pretty warm, so that's where I'm going to be leaving mine. So while your dough is taking that 10 minutes to rise, you can go ahead and prepare a baking dish. We're going to be using a 9x13 glass baking dish, and what I like to do is I like to melt a little bit of butter on the bottom of that. Just gonna need 1 1/2 tablespoons of butter. This is unsalted butter. And what I like to do is, rather than sticking this in the microwave, which you can totally do that instead, I'm just gonna drop this in my oven that's preheating for a couple minutes until the butter's melted. Set your prepared dish aside, and at this point your dough should have finished rising. So you're going to want to grab that, and we're just going to transfer it to a lightly floured, clean surface. The easiest way that I've found to portion up this dough into even-sized rolls is just to roll it into a log and then cut it into 15 equal-sized pieces. Now take each one of these slices and we're going to roll it into a nice smooth ball. Once you have all of your rolls formed, you're just going to grab them and we're going to place them into our buttered pan. Now cover your pan very tightly with foil, and what we're going to do is we're going to head over to our 200-degree Fahrenheit preheated oven. We're going to pop these rolls in the oven and we're going to turn the oven off. You're going to let them rise in that oven for 15 minutes with the oven off. Once 15 minutes has passed, you're going to want to grab these rolls out of the oven, keep them tightly covered, just set them aside, and you're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. You're going to let your rolls continue to rise covered until your oven reaches 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Once your oven is preheated, we can go ahead and uncover our rolls. Now that your rolls have risen and your oven is preheated, you can certainly go ahead and toss these in the oven as is right now. But I like to encourage a little bit of browning on top of my rolls. So to do this, I like to brush them lightly with just a little bit of milk. Just use a pastry brush and gently brush that on each roll. Another option for doing this would be to lightly brush the rolls with egg wash, which is just 1 egg lightly beaten with 1 or 2 teaspoons of water. That works really well for giving you a shiny brown topping, but it also weighs down the rolls a little bit, so I prefer to use milk or to use nothing at all. All right, let's take these over to our 350-degree Fahrenheit oven, where they're going to need to bake for about 20 minutes. All right, let's go ahead and dig in so I can show you how soft and fluffy these guys are. And this is still really, really hot. I probably could use a couple more seconds to cool, but I don't care. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys just how amazing this roll looks. Can you guys see the steam, or is that just me? Anyway, super soft and fluffy dinner rolls, ready in under an hour. I really think you guys are gonna love this recipe, and if you try it out, please let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hey, if you guys enjoyed today's easy dinner roll recipe, I would really appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, if you enjoyed today's recipe, here are a few others you might like as well.